All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started with our Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 15th. Welcome, and thanks so much for being here this morning. I'm Jefferson County Commissioner Leslie Dahlkemper. I'm here with Commissioner Zenzinger and Commissioner Kerr. Our clerk this morning is Mitch Yergert, and our host is Karina Madrigal, who will handle requests for public comment and public testimony sign up in the chat for those of you who are joining us virtually. There are several ways to join our hybrid meeting, all of which are listed on our website at jeffco.us. You're always welcome to reach out to the board on the county's website at jeffco.us, or you can reach us by email at commish@jeffco.us. We would also like everyone to please go ahead and silence your phones at this time, and we invite you to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on our agenda is public comment, and the board will take up to 15 minutes at the beginning of our meeting on topics that are not listed on our agenda. We'll begin with those who have signed up for public comment, and it looks like I have one person who signed up this morning, and then we'll turn next to those of you who are joining us online, and we'll check to see if there's anyone else in the hearing room who would like to address the board at this time. If you are joining us virtually, we ask that you use a computer to log in to this morning's meeting. Send a note in the chat to the host with your full name, your address, and the topic. First, to speak before the board this morning is Lynn Clemens. If you please come forward. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Lynn Clemens, 6202 Kilmer Loop, Unit 102, Arvada, 80403. And my topic is the property at 5950 McIntyre. As you know, I'm adjacent, my community is adjacent to this property to the north. And there has been a lot of tree cutting and bush cutting on the property. And currently I am concerned about a fire issue. We've had a lot of dry weather and there is a lot of downed wood, and I'm very concerned since a lot of this is kind of near the border of my property. So I was just wondering if there is a permit that has been issued that has allowed the tree cutting to happen. Do I need to file a formal complaint about the trees being down and not being removed very quickly? But I am concerned about a fire hazard. So if we did not get much snow over the winter and it seems really dry there. Secondly, in the same vein, I know the trees have been down, and I'm wondering if maybe I'll give the owner a benefit of the doubt, if they're going to test the trees for contamination, since the property was pretty well contaminated. And I'm just wondering if there is any kind of a request by the county or by CDPHE to actually test the trees to see if they show any contamination, and maybe that's why they haven't been removed. So I'm going to give the owner a benefit of the doubt. So these are my concerns today. I just wanted to let the board know that there was no racing down McIntyre on Saturday night, but we think that it might be an every other week thing, and this coming weekend would be the weekend that we might see that activity happen. I am not going to be around. I'm actually doing some traveling in the next week. I will alert my neighbors to keep an eye on things and maybe even to take some pictures or record this. But I just wanted to let the board know that didn't happen last weekend, but let's hope it doesn't happen this weekend, and let's hope the sheriff and the police of Arvada will keep an eye on this. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Clemens. And our sheriff is here with us this morning. And we also have our planning and zoning director, Chris O'Keefe, who might be able to answer some of those questions for you. Thanks again for speaking. Is there anyone else in the boardroom who would like to address the board? Ms. Madrigal, is there anyone online who would like to speak during public comment?
No one online.
Great, thank you. That closes this portion of public comment. We have another round of public comment at the end of today's meeting. Next, we have the approval of the minutes dated April 8th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve?
I move for the approval of the minutes dated April 8th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Yurgert, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr?
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper?
Yes, and that motion passes. Next, we have 3 items on the consent agenda. Commissioners, would either of you like to remove an item from consent?
No, thank you.
I do not want to remove an item from consent, but I would like to speak to an item on the agenda, the third item.
Please go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that we heard a presentation about this 5-year grazing agreement and the benefits of it. And I just wanted to highlight it and uplift it for the members of the public. If you are not familiar, we do have some sensitive ecological areas in our county, in particular, some grasslands that are very unique to our community, as well as they're very similar to the grasslands that are protected in the Kansas territories and along those lines. And so this concept, I'm really jazzed about it. And I learned a lot that I was unfamiliar with about the importance of grazing in these areas in order to benefit it. It seems counterintuitive, which is why I'm bringing it up. It seems like, why would you want to graze on these very sensitive ecological sites? And in fact, the reason why you would want to is because it actually helps them. So the other alternative is a fire, and we don't particularly want to do that right now. So I just wanted to call out this particular item that is on our consent agenda today.
Great. Thanks so much, Commissioner Zenzinger, and thanks to our Jeffco Open Space team who gave us a great presentation on that particular item as well. May I have a motion to approve items 6.1 through 6.3?
I move for the approval of consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.3.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Yurgert, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr?
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper?
Yes, and that motion passes. Next is our regular agenda, and we have no items on our regular agenda this morning. And we have with us the Sheriff. Sheriff Marinelli is here to present the first quarter Law Enforcement Authority report. And we will now adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and reconvene as the Board of Directors for the Law Enforcement Authority. May I have a motion to adjourn and reconvene as the LEA?
I move we adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and reconvene as the Law Enforcement Authority Board of Directors.
Second.
Mr. Yurgert, would you
Second.
please? Thank you. Would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr?
Aye.
Commissioner Zenzinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper?
Yes. Sheriff, it is so good to see you this morning. Welcome. We had you last Tuesday as well. Always good to start our Tuesday mornings with you. Please go ahead with your report.
Good morning. First of all, I want to give an update on the Blue Envelope, which you guys did the proclamation for Autism Month for the month of April. And we rolled out the Blue Envelope. Right now, we've had 2 other counties in Colorado that have called us and are wanting to start the Blue Envelope, and a city out of Missouri. And so it is growing rather quickly because we just put that into effect just a couple weeks ago. So that is a great program that is growing. And it is on our website that all the citizens can go to and look at not only the LEA report, but also the Blue Envelope. So right now, I just want to highlight a couple things that our people have been doing. Nate Whittington, who you are all very familiar with, was given the Statewide Emergency Manager of the Year award. So we know that Nate does fantastic work for us, but it's nice to know that across the entire state, he is being recognized for the work he does. Also, we were given our 10th CALIA accreditation achievement. Accreditation process includes a thorough internal review, an independent assessment of public safety, public input and structured interviews, and then a public hearing before 21 members commission for a final decision on that. And so this is the 10th time We have received our accreditation. It is not something easy to accomplish. It is a lot of work. It's keeping up our policies and procedures and all that to where we meet a national standard. And so the continued dedication to the highest standards in public safety across the land. So we did receive that and were awarded our new paperwork on that. We are 94% staffed with sworn personnel. What we have realized recently is that we were the only agency looking for law enforcement officers surrounding us that was not offering a sign-on bonus. And so we did put a sign-in bonus to accompany the new hires. And it will go into effect with the upcoming academy that starts in June or July. And so those signing bonuses, many of the cities in Jefferson County are already doing it. Aurora is doing it. Many of the counties in the metro area are doing it. And what it is we're all competing for the same employees to hire as law enforcement officers. And we have a lot of people that come to our agency because they do their homework and they want to work for Jefferson County regardless of anything else. But our staffing and our recruiters need some help. So we did put in that signing bonus. We will see how that goes. Right now, we are getting many more people more interested in our agency because of it. So it is working, not something we want to do long term, but right now, like I said, if we're competing for everybody that wants to become a law enforcement officer in the Denver metro area, we've got to do something to be able to attract people to the western side of the metro area. Emergency management. This has been a significant planning year, as you know, for the Office of Emergency Management. We are now doing our own hazard. We broke away from that Adams Jeffco hazmat in December 31st. That ended, and so we are now the Jefferson County hazmat. And so we're starting to do a lot of the mitigation planning for that and ability to mitigate the hazards and then effectively manage emergencies. So public preparedness is one of our top priorities. And we're going to start targeting some education campaigns. It's not something that the public sees when we have hazmat calls, but they are out there. It's not unusual for us to have a couple a week. And so we are preparing to get that program up and running. We're doing great right now, considering that we came out of that combined hazmat authority and are now on our own. But it's always something that we need to be aware of and keep preparing for what will come in the future. Our crime prevention and education, we still have one crime prevention deputy. Years ago, we had 3. I wish we could add more, but again, that goes into that not having enough sworn deputies on our team. Our school resource officers are doing great, working with the school district. And then detention facility. The one thing I do want to point out is our Narcan usage is going down, which means we have less fentanyl. But as I have warned, that is not something that I am going to be easy with at this point in time. Having worked as the commander of the West Metro Drug Task Force, I don't think this is something that we should hang our hat on just yet, that the fentanyl numbers are coming down across the entire country. This could just be a shift and we could see that go back up. So we are very cautious about those numbers, but it is a good thing that we're using less Narcan at this point in time. Notable investigations. We did have a 15-year-old that ran away with a man that she met on social media. This was a wonderful collaboration in this particular case. The man was identified. He was 27 years old. The young girl was 15. He was from Nevada. We were able to find that out and get ahead of him. The neighborhood doorbell cameras helped us track the truck, and then learning through social media where he lived. Law enforcement in Nevada were able to contact his family and let them know what was going on. And this gentleman literally walked in to a police station in Nevada and turned himself in and literally stated that he had kidnapped the young girl from Colorado. And so, unfortunately, not every investigation we do goes that smoothly, but it's nice to see that we had the cooperation with other states. Social media worked to our advantage. We used it. And again, his family also helped with convincing him to turn himself in. So that is a good end to that one. Traffic operations, our primary goal, people don't understand this. They think we go out and just use our traffic unit to stop people at any location we choose. That's not how we do it. There's a strategic deployment, and it's based every month on crash analysis. And so it's more of an educational thing that we do so that we can go out where the majority of the crashes are happening and educate people, get them to slow down, get them to stop at the stop signs. It's unfortunate this day and age that stop signs seem to be only a suggestion to most people rather than an actual thing they should be doing. So I want the citizens that are watching primarily to understand that we use a lot of analysis in order to put our traffic operations into effect. We don't just go out and start making stops. We are working on a lot of the complaints that we get about the people that are not renewing their license plates. We're trying to catch as many as we can. It is amazing how many people after COVID just decided to stop paying for their license plates. And so if we could get that back on track where people realize when they buy a vehicle, they have to get the insurance, they have to register it and start doing what's right, so that we don't have to come after them. Focus crimes. The focus crimes are residential, commercial burglaries, motor vehicle trespasses, and motor vehicle thefts. What I want to point out, we've got the statistics for every year from 2021. On burglaries alone, it has decreased since 2021 by 49.7%. Theft from a motor vehicle has decreased 73.7%. And motor vehicle thefts have decreased 57.1% since 2021. Now, when you look at those numbers, you do have to take into effect that 2021 COVID hit, but we have also put in a lot of energy, some technology to help us work on especially the motor vehicle thefts. And so that has come down tremendously, and I just wanted to make sure that that was fully noted. So looking at our major crime activities, we did catch a serial burglar with who had committed tens of thousands of dollars worth of cash, coins, and jewelry burglaries. This person, thanks to our investigations team, was linked to over a dozen break-ins. We solved some of Denver's crimes also through our Jefferson County investigation. So these are regional partners and community members who provide critical tips. And then we use camera footage and we're able to catch the serial burglar. He will now be facing charges in court. We also made the arrest of a serial rapist. An 18-year-old woman reported being sexually assaulted in the canyon. We also were able to clear some of Denver's cases. And this was done through DNA and very good investigative work. This case is still being publicized because it took over a year for us to get our crime solved, which means there is possibly more victims out there. And so we will be hopefully getting that cleared up and having this gentleman face the consequences for those serial crimes. Human trafficking. I know this is all a lot of kind of depressing stuff right now, but human trafficking, the sheriff's office and the FBI were able to profile on the news in collaborative efforts to raise awareness and combat human trafficking in Colorado. We highlighted a complex case here in Jefferson County that was able to be solved. And again, this goes back to the multi-agency collaboration to identify and support victims while holding the offenders accountable. Now, on a good note, The last one I will highlight, the Safeway manager up in Evergreen, who was working his store and observed an elderly woman that was buying over $1,200 worth of retail gift cards. He stopped her, asked her what was going on, checked into it. It was the scam that we see so often on the news. So for us, the Safeway manager is a hero. He was vigilant. He stopped this from happening, called us. He educated the woman as to what was happening to her, even though she thought it was real when she walked into the grocery store. Thanks to him, she now understood it was not real, and we were able to take that report and are working to try to find out who it was that was trying to scam her. But that's what we like with our businesses, is to be able to have those managers and those employees that are doing their due diligence to see that kind of stuff and stop it. And so that gentleman, I'm quite sure will be getting one of our awards next year. So looking at the crime statistics, which are on the final page of our LEA report, if you look at it, the majority of the crimes have gone down in the last 5 years for first quarter. Now, there is a number on here that is not a mistake, but it is extremely high, and that's identity theft, which is about halfway down. In 2021. In the first quarter, there were 1,277 reports of identity theft. Now, if you look at that compared to the first quarter this year, there was only 89. That's a huge jump. But that jump accounts for, if you remember back in COVID, the fraudulent unemployment claims that were coming through. That is what that number is. It jumps out and it looks like it's an incorrect number, but it is actually a real number. The fraudulent unemployment claims, most of those were stopped and never went through, but they were still reported. And so that's why that number is so high. So I wanted to catch that before anybody sees it and thinks it's a mistake, because it is not a mistake. And so that's what I have to present. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
I bet we do. And some comments too. I mean, first, I just want to thank on behalf of the board, you and your incredible team for the work that you do each and every day on behalf of our community. And I really look forward to hearing and reading the quarterly reports, because it demonstrates how much work is underway in our county, throughout our county. So just huge gratitude on behalf of the board for everything that you do. Also, I really appreciated your caution too about Narcan. The Gateway to the Rockies Opioid Council met yesterday, and we talked about the number of applications that we receive for opioid grant dollars. It's almost 40. We're 40 applications, all of which are worthy. We're going to review them in more detail. So still a continued issue that we're paying very close attention to and taking seriously. And just a huge shout out to Nate on his statewide award. It's really exciting to see that as well. I was going to ask a real quick question about the sim table exercise. As wildfire season is year round, and you as our fire warden are leading the way in terms of how we address these issues alongside with the board. Tell us about how the sim table exercise went, any learnings or takeaways from yesterday, and what it was about.
Yesterday we had several different agencies, from federal agencies to state agencies to water departments to XL Energy to Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Weekly from Douglas County came up, was part of that, and his team, while they were actually starting to mop up their fire, their people came to that training. It was a tremendous training to get all the partners at the table. Now, as you know, during the quarry fire last year, we weren't able to pull in all those partners because there was so many fires in the state and across the country. We hope that doesn't happen again. However, the chances are that it could, and most likely will. But it's always good to have that training. The sim table, for people that haven't seen it, Channel 7 and Channel 9 did a fantastic quip on it here recently. And so if you go to that, you will see it. But the sand table is literally sand in a box. And my staff asked to purchase it, and I questioned it, but I allowed it because they guaranteed me it was high technology. And so what it does is it projects, and you can actually go in to the computer system And we'll use the quarry fire, for instance. You can program an overhead view of where the quarry fire happened. You then set the sand in the ebbs and flows of the mountain and the fields and stuff. And then you start a fire using this simulation table. And you can put in the wind directions, you can put in the humidity, you can put in, how many fire crews you have, what kind, whether it be bulldozers, whether it be hand crews, and start working that fire. And for me, the phenomenal part of this is especially the wind. When you can put that wind in there and show on this table how that fire is going to react to all of those different elements and where it's going to go, it helps the people that are fighting the fire to know where to attack. So the fire is moving, but the fire personnel can actually attack it before it goes in the direction it's getting ready to go in. So it's a phenomenal technology. We purchased it, we own it, we share it. It has been to Arvada Fire, West Metro's used it. We've allowed it to go out of county for other jurisdictions to use because we're the only ones that have this technology. And so it is remarkable. And I'm so glad they talked me into letting them purchase sand. And
Right.
so all they have to do is when it goes somewhere else, the computer system goes obviously. And they actually bought a temporary holding, it's kind of like a little square rectangle swimming pool thing that they can put the sand in so it can travel. At our headquarters, we actually have a kind of a permanent sand pit for it. And so, but it's amazing. So if you get the chance to watch it, it's phenomenal.
Well, I understand we may get a preview this fall when we
Yes.
have our dinner with the sheriff's office. And just huge congrats to the sheriff's office also for the grant dollars that you received to help cover the cost
Yes.
of this sim table. And it's great to hear that other partners are able to use it as well. With that, commissioners, any questions or comments, please?
Just wanted to say thank you and congratulations on the Courage Walk this past weekend. It was really enjoyable. It was very profound and moving, and I enjoyed the speakers. And then a part of your presentation today, you mentioned that you were responsible for hazmat responses and that there are more hazmat incidents than we would think. And that blew me away because I just quite frankly didn't even think that we were the entity that responded to hazmat. So could you talk a little bit more about that, about some examples of things that your office addresses?
Yeah, so if there's like a car accident where there's gasoline spilled or diesel spilled, that's going to be a hazmat response to try to keep it from going into the aquifer and any of that stuff. Last week, we had 2 different incidences where people threw drums of liquid off the highway or the roadway, and they get called in, and we have to go and determine what's in it, and if it's a hazmat, and then determine how to clean it up if it spills, or how to pick it up and take it to a location where we can dispose of it. So those are some of them. You know, it's simple to think it doesn't happen, but you have homeowners that will change their oil and dump the oil down the gutter. That's a hazmat spill. So all of that are things that we go to. You know, if a truck carrying, years ago, I had one in the middle of a neighborhood that was carrying lacquer, like wood finish, and got into a wreck and spilled it. That was a huge cleanup. You're talking about fumes. You're talking about the liquid. You're talking about, we have businesses in Jefferson County that deal with a lot of chemicals. And when you're dealing with chemicals and you store them and you have them and you use them, there's always a chance that there's going to be something that happens that becomes a spill. And so it's not just on the roadways, it's in the buildings where they're using them, and so on and so forth. So.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Commissioner Zenzinger. Commissioner Kerr.
Thank you, and please pass along our thanks to your entire team for all of the great work that you bring before us on these LEA reports. I am a little disappointed though that now we have to refer to Nate as the statewide emergency manager of the year at the Colorado Emergency Management Conference. I did acronym though, that SEMI-SEMC. So I'm going to refer to Nate as SEMI-SEMC from now on. But congratulations to him. And I'm sure he would be the first to also say that while technically he's part of a small team, it's still a team, and really your entire department is part of that team. And I'm sure that he would be the first to say that as well. But congrats to him and congrats to your whole team. I think it's an honor for the whole team. You mentioned a couple of things, people not registering their cars. Thank you for work on that. It's always interesting. I think we hear from folks who, on the one hand, we hear from folks who are like, I see all these cars who are expired or not registered driving around it, but I register my car. What's the deal? And then I also hear from people who are like, I was a couple weeks late and I got pulled over. Really? What? But knowing that that work is important to get folks to actually get registered and be part of your community. You did mention stop signs and that they are being treated as suggestions. And I'll just go ahead and take this opportunity to mention that a few years ago in a bill that I'm fairly certain Senator Zenzinger supported because it did enjoy wide bipartisan support. It was the Colorado Safety Stop was adopted, saying that bicycles, when approaching a stop sign, and there's no one, they're not taking the right away from anyone else. Bicycles do not need to come to a complete stop at stop signs. That is legal. And I know I still get comments from vehicle drivers to this day saying, hey, you didn't stop at that stop sign. Well, legally, cyclists don't have to, because it has been shown that when cyclists get through an intersection, they're less likely to actually be involved in a crash with vehicles, which is something I know we're all interested, whether you're driving a car or you're riding a bike or you're a pedestrian, we all want to get home in one piece and without being involved in a crash. So I'd just like to remind folks, sir, I know you know this and your team knows this, just kind of getting the word out there that just because you might see a cyclist off in the distance rolling a stop sign, they're doing that, they can be doing that legally. Not 100% of them, but they can be doing that legally. Doesn't give permission for vehicles, which are much larger, heavier. You can't hear as well, you can't see as well, and are more dangerous. So with that, just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Kerr. What was that acronym again for Nate? Because I'm going to be using that. SEMI-SEMC. It's a mouthful still, even as an acronym. Also, just a special shout out to Fire Management Officer Brian Keating, who was able to join us for a couple of hours at the Colorado Fire Commission meeting. Jefferson County hosted the CFC on Thursday, and it was great to have him there. We always appreciate his presence as well. With that, just huge thank you for being here and taking the time. Just switch glasses. Now I can see you. And again, we appreciate everything you do. Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
A great rest of the day. Directors, we now need to adjourn as the directors for the Law Enforcement Authority and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. May I have a motion to adjourn and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners?
I move we adjourn as the Law Enforcement Authority Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Yergert, would you please call the vote?
Director Kerr,
Aye.
Director Zenzinger,
Oh, you know what? I'm going to vote yes, since I'm a director today.
Good
Commissioner
morning,
Zinser.
Jeremy.
I,
Director Dahlkemper,
Yes, and that motion passes. Thank you so much. Next, next is the hearing consent portion of our meeting. We have no items on hearing consent, and we'll move to the hearing regular portion of our meeting. And we do have one item on hearing regular agenda. Mr. Yerger, would you please read hearing regular agenda item 11.1 into the record?
11.1, Resolution CC 25-105, case number 24-107-927, RZ rezoning. Owner applicants, Courtney A. Ekstrom, Robert L. Ekstrom, Sable Ekstrom, Timothy J. Ekstrom, Kaylee Hudson, Taylor Hudson, Susan Rosamond, and Shockwave Properties LLC, a Colorado limited liability company. Location 28880 and 28889 Shady Hill Circle, Conifer. Approximate area 26.63 acres. Purpose to rezone the agricultural 2 to agricultural 1 to allow future subdivision of up to 5 lots. Case manager Sarah Colas.
Great, thank you so much. And Sarah, thanks so much for being here with us this morning. Sarah Colas with Jeffco Planning and Zoning for a brief presentation. And please go ahead on item 11.1.
Thank you. So I am a planner with Planning and Zoning, and I was the case manager for this application. I will walk you through staff's analysis of this rezoning. So first, this is a property in Conifer. It is just off of US Highway 285 and Richmond Hill Road. This property is currently zoned agricultural 2 or A2. It is surrounded by a number of other properties with other zone district types. So there's also A2 in the area, A1, SR2, MR1, MR2, and also some commercial pockets as well. Just for some context, this property was created in 1977. The parcel to the north abutting US 285 and also Richmond Hill Road were acquired by CDOT. CDOT then transferred the Richmond Hill Road portion to the county, so that is maintained by the county now. Today we are looking at the remaining parcel, which is 26.63 acres. So the purpose today, the applicant is asking to rezone from A2 to A1 for the purposes of subdividing the property into a maximum of 5 lots. This site plan here was provided by the applicant. It is for conceptual purposes only. We are not approving a site plan today. They would have to go to the platting process in order to subdivide the property. But just wanted to show you that as a concept. The primary difference between A2 and A1 is the minimum lot size. So it is 10 acres for the current A2. It would be 5 acres minimum for A1. The setbacks are the same for both zone districts. So I will go through the zoning resolution zoning criteria and how staff analyze the rezoning criteria for this application. First, we look at the compatibility with existing and allowable land uses in the surrounding area. As already mentioned, the surrounding area has a number of different zone district types. Most of those zone districts are utilized for single-family residential, which would be allowed in the current A2 and also the proposed A1. We do believe that A1 would be compatible then with the allowable land uses in the surrounding area. Next, we look at the comprehensive master plan and its conformance with that plan. The first section of the CMP, the comprehensive master plan, would look at land use. So specifically, this property is in the Conifer area plan. It is recommended for 1 dwelling per 5 acres with special wildfire policies. So for this application, we did require that they submit a wildfire hazard mitigation plan to show that the wildfire hazard could be mitigated on this property. That is a policy specific to properties with a lower slope. So this property is predominantly 20 to 30% slope. So that is why we would allow them to show that they could mitigate that wildfire hazard. Additionally, we look at floodplains, wetlands, wildfire, radiation, landfills, and wildlife habitat. So there is a wildlife crossing at the northernmost point of this property. It goes under 285, as shown here with that green marking on the photo. We are not concerned about the proximity of development to this wildlife crossing, because the setbacks required for the A1 zone district would be pretty high. It'd be very difficult to fit anything in that northernmost point. Additionally, Core Electric will be requiring a pretty large easement area over that northern section of the property at time of platting due to their overhead power lines. So we don't have concerns that any development would be close to that wildlife crossing. Additionally, this area is considered a secondary wildlife quality area and does not require any additional mitigation. Due to these reasons, we do believe it conforms to the physical constraint sections of the CMP. Also, a note about wildfire. In the wildfire hazard mitigation plan, it was noted that there is a intermittent stream on that northern portion of the property. That could create a chimney effect for wildfires. That should be further evaluated at time of subdivision in case a no-build area is required on that northern section of the property. Next, we looked at community resources per the CMP. There are some historical landmarks, but they are over a mile south of this property, so we do not believe they will be affected by this rezoning. We do acknowledge that the natural landscape is a visual asset to this area and should be preserved to the extent possible. Staff does believe that the A1 zone district will still preserve that ridgeline as a low density zone district and would have the same setback requirements as the current A2 zone district. So we do believe that it conforms with the community resources goals and policies. Next, you look at infrastructure, water, and services. We did not believe that this would have any major impacts to the traffic in the area. This property would be served by the Elk Creek Fire Protection District, which is in the process of becoming the Conifer Fire Protection District. There is a firehouse just across 285 directly from this property. You can actually see it from the property itself. And of course, they would be served by the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Water would be provided by individual wells. There are already 2 well permits for the property. They did go through an augmentation process to acquire additional water rights for the property that would be adequate for a maximum of 5 lots. Wastewater treatment would be provided by septic systems. The 5-acre lot sizes would meet the minimum required lot size per public health. Next, after the CMP conformance, we look at the mitigation of impacts. Staff does not believe that there are any negative impacts that could not be mitigated. We do believe that the impacts would be negligible to the surrounding area due to the large lot size of 5 acres and also the setback requirements. And largely, the zoning would allow for the residential character to remain in the area. We already discussed infrastructure, water, and services, but we do believe it is adequate for the proposed rezoning. Last, we look at the effect upon the health, safety, and welfare of the surrounding area. We do not believe that this will result in a significant impact to this area. Once again, due to the large lot sizes, it has the same uses as A2 to A1, and also the setbacks would be the same. During community notification, we did receive 2 community comments with concerns about zoning inconsistencies, housing density, traffic, water quality, wildlife, and visual resources. So as already mentioned, we do believe that the CMP recommendation is met since it does specifically recommend 5-acre lots. Additionally, we do believe that the water rights acquired are sufficient for this application. Looking at the wildlife specifically, we believe that the wildlife crossing would not be negatively impacted just due to the fact that development would be very unlikely to occur anywhere near the wildlife crossing. And we do agree with the concerns about the visual corridor needing to be preserved. However, we do not believe that will be significantly impacted by the change from A2 to A1. So staff's analysis, we did believe that this met all of the criteria per the zoning resolution, and staff is recommending approval of the rezoning. If the rezoning is approved, they would need to go to platting to subdivide the land and then building permits if they wanted to acquire permits for any additional houses on the property. Planning Commission did hear this case on March 26th. There were 2 citizens who testified. They had concerns about water availability, preservation of the ridgeline, road conditions and maintenance, conformance with the Conifer area plan, and also setting a precedent for A2 properties in the area. The Planning Commission did discuss those concerns, but they came to the conclusion that they recommended approval at a vote of 5-0. And that concludes staff's presentation. I do believe the applicant was also going to be available as well if you had questions from them.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great presentation. Commissioners, do you have any questions at this time? Commissioner Kerr?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Appreciate the thorough overview. Look, are there any buildings currently on these two properties?
Yeah, so they have 2 active building permits since the property is currently 26 acres and it's 2 separate lots. They did acquire 2 building permits already and have started constructing 2 homes, one on each respective lot.
And did they build this Shady Hill Circle to reach those? It looks like
Correct.
it
The
might be
private
pretty-
road
yeah.
is newly constructed. They did acquire a grading permit to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. And it looks like with that is Blackfoot Road, Richmond Hill Road, looks like they have, I mean, it's literally about 30 seconds from being able to get either direction on 285. So it looks pretty quick to get out of there and onto a highway.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Commissioner Zenzinger, any questions or comments? All right, and none from me. Thank you so much again for the presentation. Next, we'll hear from the applicants. I believe we have the applicants joining us virtually. We see you there. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. If you would please share with us your full name, spell your last name, provide your address, and the clerk will swear you in.
Okay, my name is Rob Ekstrom. Last name is spelled Ekstrom. And I live currently in Littleton at 7731 South Carr Street, and representing as one of the owners for the subject property.
Thanks for being here, Mr. Ekstrom, and the clerk will swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I affirm.
Thanks, Mr. Ekstrom. And please go ahead with any comments or presentation you'd like to share at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. First, I just want to thank the commissioners for hearing our case. And I also want to shout out to Sarah, who's done an absolutely fabulous job of putting our presentation materials together and presenting this case both to the Planning Commission and as well as you folks today. It's been a really good process, and we appreciate that very much. So just a little bit of our history and ambition for the area. We comprise several families, or we're coming together to immediate family members coming together to move from the metro area up to Conifer. And so our vision was to build our residences on this property. At present, as was stated, we're nearing completion of construction of 2 homes with the intent to build up to 4 homes around the circle that we've located toward the center of the property. So we constructed what is known as Shady Hill Circle, the road from Richmond Hill Road up to the center, and those will be our family homes. At this time, we don't have any specific plans to build on the northernmost 6-acre parcel once it's subdivided, but obviously we wanted to take this opportunity to divide it and zone it accordingly should we decide to improve that as well in the future. We've intentionally located the house designs toward the center of the property to maintain the visual resources along both Richmond Hill Road and 285. So we're as as it is our intent to, become members of this community, we also want to respect all of those, the visual resources, the wildlife in the area. That's something we care a lot about as well. And so we've put in a lot of thought on how we preserve those aspects and respond to the surrounding homes and our neighbors. We've met most of our neighbors, I think, if not all of them, that immediately are adjacent to our properties, and we feel really great about the project that we have planned. And of course, through the process, as Sarah mentioned, we have taken great care to achieve all of the county regulations, including, our water augmentation and probably most importantly, our fire mitigation plan, which we think will be a huge benefit to the community and the neighbors surrounding this areas as the property had become fairly thick with vegetation and trees, and we're going to have the opportunity to clean that up and help potentially reduce fire hazard going forward. So I think that's the gist of our my presentation, and just to give you a little context about our family. And again, I'm just thankful to everyone who's helped us with this process, and we're looking forward to being an active member of the Conifer community and contributing to the economy and local businesses in that area. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Ekstrom, for your comments. We appreciate it. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Ekstrom this morning? No? All right. Thank you. No questions at this time. Thanks again for your comments. Next, we'll move to public testimony, and we're taking public testimony only on this issue for those of you in person and virtually. And if you're online, please use the chat function to share your name and your address to let the host know you'd like to testify. And each person will have 3 minutes. Let's start first with Ms. Madrigal to see if we have anyone online who would like to testify at this time.
No one online.
All right. And do we have anyone who would like to testify in the hearing room? Any associations who'd like to testify? All right. I don't see anyone interested in testifying in the hearing room, so we'll go ahead and close this period of public testimony. And I would like to just ask commissioners if you have any other comments or questions at this time. If not, we'll make a motion.
No other questions or comments.
All right. May I have a motion for hearing regular agenda item 11.1?
I move for the approval of hearing regular agenda item 11.1.
Second.
Mr. Yerger, would you please call the vote?
Commissioner Kerr,
Aye.
Commissioner Zinzinger,
Aye.
Commissioner Dahlkemper.
Yes, and that motion passes. Thank you. Next on our agenda is our second round of public comment, and we'll ask if anyone in the hearing room or online would like to speak on a topic not on today's agenda. And I'll just double check. Ms. Madrigal, is there anyone online who'd like to address the board?
No one online.
Great, thank you so much. Next, we'll move to reports. Commissioners, we'll begin with you. Commissioner Zenzinger, do you have a report this morning?
Yes, I do. First, I just wanted to reiterate my thanks and support for our sheriff's office, our district attorney's office on the Courage Walk that they helped sponsor this past weekend. It was very moving, as well as the opportunity to attend and observe the Canine Graffiti Memorial that occurred last week. It was also a very touching event, and it's a beautiful memorial over there by the sheriff's office. So I encourage folks to go over and take a look at it. I also had the pleasure of attending our Jeffco Public Health Champions Award last week, and I just wanted to publicly congratulate and call out the winners of that Public Health Champions event. We had Sean Marzin for the Street Medicine and Community Outreach Program. He works for Stride Community Health, and for just all of his work breaking down barriers to healthcare out among those that are experiencing homelessness and working to serve that population. Also, the Jeffco Public Schools nurse team, as you all know, those are truly heroes working in our school districts and providing tremendous support to our students. Also, Jeffco Communities That Care, which is a coalition of 125 different members from diverse backgrounds, including government agencies, nonprofits, organizations, community members, and youth. And what they do is they focus on working collaboratively for strengthening health and well-being, particularly among youth, and trying to uplift preventing substance misuse, mental wellness, safety, and connection. It was a fantastic introduction for me because I was not aware of Jeffco Communities That Care. And then lastly, West Metro Fire for their Advanced Resource Medic Car, also known as ARM. The ARM car responds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is staffed with an advanced care paramedic and either a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner. And their mission is to deliver care to people whenever needed, and to help sort of citizens navigate what can sometimes be a very complicated and confusing health landscape. So those were the winners, and it was a very uplifting event. Speaking of public health, I also wanted to talk a little bit about measles. If you go to the Jefferson County Public Health website, there is an entire section that is dedicated toward measles. We now have an outbreak that is increasing, I should say, that is increasing in several states, and we have several cases of it right here in Colorado. Measles is a highly transmittable infectious disease that is very, very easy to prevent. And so if you want to check out their website, they talk a little bit about whether or not you have immunity to measles and how to address that. And obviously the most important thing would be to get vaccinated. If your children have not been vaccinated, or if you yourself have not been vaccinated for measles, you can get vaccinated at our public health clinics for little to no cost. And it's just really, really important, particularly if you are an adult and you are unsure if you were vaccinated when you were a child, or if you received a second booster for your measles. They can help you figure that out. They can help you test your immunity. They can administer a booster if necessary. They even have guidelines for whether or not you need to be vaccinated, and ways to check on your immunization status, not just for measles, but for lots of things. So really highly recommend that you take a look at this website and that you protect yourself and others. It is such a highly communicable disease, so it's really important that we pay attention to this. Also, I had the pleasure of attending the Jefferson EDC meeting last week. There was a lot of discussion about tariffs, but more importantly, there was an interesting discussion that I was not even aware of about manufacturing extension programs. We have a couple of manufacturing extension programs throughout the United States, and these are really important groups that help stand up manufacturing in your communities. They were federally started, and unfortunately, the U.S. Department of Commerce has stopped funding 10 manufacturing extension partnership programs as part of the Trump administration's plan to reduce federal spending, according to lawmakers and other partner members. The problem with that is that these centers really act as a catalyst for manufacturing in your communities by helping to break down barriers towards manufacturing, helping with workforce training for manufacturing, for helping companies, manufacturing companies get established, helping for funding manufacturing. And so it seems to me if we are right now in the process of instituting tariffs so that we can generate more American manufacturing, this is a bad time to come back on the very entities that help stand up manufacturing in our communities. Those 10 centers were located in Delaware, Hawaii, Iowa, Kansas, which is important to us, Maine, Mississippi, Nevada, New Mexico, also important to us, and North Dakota and Wyoming. So 3 states, 4 if you consider North Dakota, or 5 if you consider Nevada, in real proximity to Colorado, have just lost their manufacturing centers, their collaborative communities that work on this. So rightfully, our manufacturing collaborative right here in Colorado is a little worried. A gentleman from Manufacturing Edge spoke about this at the EDC meeting, talked about his fears about whether Colorado's would also get cut and or see some reduced funding in the future. And really highlighted for me, because I wasn't even aware of all the work that they do in order to help drive manufacturing in our state. So I just wanted to call that out, and I would be interested perhaps in this board taking a look at joining the Jeffco EDC in possibly advocating to the federal government in some way, either through some direct lobbying or a letter of some sort, in order to just really help defend this really incredible programming that we have here in the state, and what a negative consequence it would be if they were to also eliminate our collaborative and or reduce funding. So
I'll just say on that point too, that was actually a conversation that we had at Jeffco EDC. One, an extension that the Board of County Commissioners could draft a letter in support, and very much agree with that. But I also think, and let me just say, I also think we may want to think about that with Head Start funding, because we're seeing potential cuts, and you'll hear more from Commissioner Zenzinger. All 3 of us at some point in our terms have served on the Head Start Council, and it was devastating news to hear that Head Start was not funded under the budget proposed by this current administration. We know Head Start gets results for kids and for families. It would be a devastating loss for not only our community, but other communities that offer the Head Start program. And I think as we think about our task force that is looking at federal funding, this needs to be a key component of it in terms of how we as a Board of County Commissioners, working with other elected officials or other stakeholder groups like EDC in the case that you shared with us just a moment ago, or with our Head Start team and families, really think about how we proactively voice our deep and grave concern about these decisions. So I think that would be great if the board is willing to follow up perhaps on both of those letters, to work with different teams to draft them. We had also talked about the Jeffco EDC board stepping up and submitting a letter as well of concern.
yes, my last and final report was to talk about that very specifically, about Head Start. So we had our Head Start board meeting last night, and just to put a finer point on it and to clarify what we are talking about, the funding blueprint that came from President Trump's administration looking at potential funding cuts and spending for the next budget cycle beginning in 2026. Head Start was not included for funding. Essentially eliminating the Head Start program. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what that means globally, but more specifically what it would mean for Colorado and for Jefferson County. So Head Start, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's a program that provides childcare and preschool education to low-income families. Unfortunately, as we have heard, and this was rooted out by a USA Today story, so you can confirm this for yourself if you would like to take a look. In Colorado, the proposal would dismantle a program that would leave more than 11,000 children without access to early education and family support. This program relies on approximately $120 million in federal funding annually, which is funneled directly to the providers. Honestly, it's kind of frustrating because this program has zero to do with politics, and it has everything to do with giving our low-income children the best possible start in life. And it would be a really devastating blow if we were to not move forward with Head Start programs. I will also, just as a reminder, Head Start is a federal program that was founded in 1965 as part of Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty to help promote school readiness for low-income children from birth to age 5 and their families. Children who are homeless, children who are in foster care, or have disabilities automatically qualify for Head Start. And they do make up a large portion of the families that we serve. The program also helps parents find jobs and other educational opportunities. So for example, we have some adult education courses that are taught at our Head Start program. We have our Jeffco Prosperity Partners program, which participates in collaboration with our Head Start programs. And I just wrote about these two programs very specifically in the Commissioner's Corner of Engage Jeffco, and that article came out yesterday. The program, not only that, but nationally, more than 1 million parents rely on Head Start programs so that they can go to work, which is a good thing. We want people to be able to be self-sufficient and to be able to have good, high-quality educational preschool programs for their children while they are at work. The budget proposal would also end meals, developmental screenings, and health care for approximately 800,000 children nationally. So I would just like to, again, put a finer point on this. I think this would be devastating to Colorado, devastating to Jefferson County, and devastating to children. And it's really important that we understand who will be impacted by this. So I appreciate your support, Commissioner Dahlkemper. I was also going to make an ask of this board to move forward with some direct lobbying to our federal delegation to probably go beyond just a letter, because I think it's going to be really, really, really important that we make the case for why that would be a bad idea to move forward with. And then not only that, but I would also like to highlight and uplift some of the existing funding challenges that we already have with regard to our Head Start programming. And I heard this morning on the radio that every I'm going to get the statistic wrong, but every $1 that you put in towards investing into Head Start, you get a $9 return on that investment. It's pretty incredible. For every dollar, you get $9 back in the form of good to our communities. So I just think that it is really, really, really important that we do not let this go as a board and as Jefferson County. And then lastly, I just like to shout out the work of our Head Start teachers and programmers and human service officials, because it'll bring tears to your eyes every single time I go to a board meeting, which again, I just had one last night. And I get to physically go into the building and I get to see the evidence of these young ones walking to their little classrooms and holding hands, and the support that the parents receive, and the visuals that are on the walls. And it just reminds me every single time how critical and important that these services are.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Zenzinger. Commissioner Kerr.
Thank you, Commissioner Zenzinger. I'm going to see what I can do to match that report. Hold my beer. Wanted to thank the sheriff for inviting us to the Canine Graffiti Memorial last week, and encourage folks to stop by and take a look at it and remember a canine hero here in Jefferson County. We also stopped by briefly the Public Health Champions event. Also want to highlight, just remember that last week we did proclaim Public Health Week, National Library Week, and Crime Victims Awareness Week. All three very important proclamations that I know we stand behind strongly. Was able to stop by the Conifer Chamber meeting Thursday morning, and then Friday morning attended Jeffco Connections. Wanted to point out that we are doing an emergency dispatch center grand opening on Wednesday, which I plan to attend. Also, there's a Mountain Rail Coalition meeting. It's a public meeting. It's in Arvada at the Arvada City Chambers, I believe, also on Wednesday. And then I believe there's a Conifer Town Hall meeting Wednesday that I won't be able to attend, but then there are the Conifer Chambers having their big awards program Thursday evening. Next Monday, I believe all of us are attending a remembrance and resolution at the Colorado State Senate for Officer Dunn from Golden, who lost his life serving his community. Next Tuesday morning, we have the 35th Annual Good News Breakfast. And congratulations to our Nuggets and our Avalanche for both making the playoffs, and good luck to both of them. And also the CU Black and Gold game this weekend. And I'll do just a reminder about lots of high school sports, kids of all ages starting their spring sports. I think, no, not all the proms are done. I know that Mullen still has their prom coming up this weekend, so not all proms are over with. So let's all be careful out there and make sure everyone arrives alive. As Commissioner Zenzinger was mentioning some challenges that our community, our country is facing right now, I wanted to talk about entities that seem more interested in punching down on those with less power in our communities, attacks on our First Amendment, on unconstitutional actions happening. These include dehumanizing trans people, cutting out healthcare for LGBTQ plus communities, an assassination attempt on a Jewish governor and family on Passover, Head Start being cut, diversity, equity, and inclusion being attempting to be reversed, people being detained with no due process, including people with legal standing and documentation in our country. Important positions and critical employees being removed and fired, again with no due process. Human beings being sent to concentration camps in other countries run by dictators. Ignoring the judicial branch, including unanimous Supreme Court decisions. All of these things I consider punching down at the least powerful in our communities and the folks who need our support the most. I know many people who are horrified and alarmed by this. I have to say I am disappointed. Part of why I'm bringing these things up is I've talked to friends and neighbors, people I consider friends and who are neighbors, who actually are applauding these things that push against our Constitution. Although I will say that most of my friends and most of my neighbors are pretty alarmed. For those of you who are feeling persecuted, I see you, we see you. We will not be silent, and we will not be still. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Kerr. Appreciate those comments, and also Commissioner Zenzinger's comments as well. And, you know, I think one of the things we may also want to think about as a Board of County Commissioners in terms of next steps and actions to dovetail with the work of the task force that has been put together is perhaps County Manager Kirby, just a regular check-in and adding that perhaps either to a Wednesday meeting or to our Tuesday meeting under maybe the briefing report from the county manager. So we're always being proactive and staying on top of the areas where we can lend a strong voice in the ways that have been discussed. I think that would be great if the board is open to that conversation. Couple quick things to share. One, I wanted to circle back, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go through a couple of items that have been mentioned, but I did want to also acknowledge the K9 Graffiti Memorial. It was an incredible morning, and I'd like to also share that it was a community effort as well. The new sculpture was designed by artist Lena Torich, and also a local business called Concreations was helpful in creating the structure to support. So truly was a community effort and a beautiful memorial to Graffiti, who was a German Shepherd and very close to retirement. He was trained in narcotics and patrol services. Graffiti was trained in narcotics and patrol services and was shot and killed in 2023 while apprehending a suspect in Golden. So it was wonderful for all three of us to attend that along with our county manager, Joe Kirby, as well. Public health is such a core component of a thriving, healthy community, and we support and stand squarely shoulder to shoulder with our public health team. You know, many of our public health employees have been under attack, and just recently, thankfully, a federal judge blocked cuts to federal funding for public health that could amount to $1.5 to $2 million for our county alone, for Jefferson County alone. And that places us at greater risk of spreading otherwise preventable diseases. We were so happy, though, to celebrate community members and our public health team at the awards that you've heard mentioned, and it was good to be a part of that celebration. I also wanted to thank members of our team, including Sarah Rodis in our office, Judy and I, as well as our BIT team, who provided support for the Colorado Fire Commission. We hosted them on Thursday. I'm one of two county commissioners who serves on the Colorado Fire Commission, along with Montezuma County Commissioner Jim Candelaria. And the day-long session was focused on better training for firefighters, homeowners insurance costs, which we've seen skyrocket over the years, in part due largely to hail and also wildfire risk. We talked about legislative and federal updates and the concerns about what the current administration's decisions will mean for the future of wildland firefighters, the future of our Forest Service, as well as other efforts to mitigate the severe wildfire risk that not only we face, but other states in the country face as well, and how those priorities are shifting. Also, for funding a major national grant called the BRIC grant, BRIC grant, has gone away. And that was a grant that we have vied for in the past in Jefferson County. We are even better positioned now with the update of our community wildfire preparedness plan to receive those dollars, but those dollars are no longer available, which has a severe impact on our wildfire resiliency efforts. So again, thanks to the Colorado Fire Commission for joining us here in Jefferson County on Thursday. I also had an opportunity to serve on a panel of an Evergreen Town Hall that was hosted by Leadership Evergreen. It was exciting because it was Leadership Evergreen's first inaugural town hall, and it focused on growth and development. And I want to give a special shout out to our transportation team members who were also on the panel, as well as Chris O'Keefe, our planning and zoning director, who joined us as well to help field any additional questions. Great questions from community members. And the panel was moderated by Alan Giannet. Some of you may know that name, CBS Denver reporter who also lives in the foothills communities as well. So My Mountain Town was there recording it if you're interested in learning more about the topics that came up during that conversation. And then finally, I want to wrap up again on a positive note and an inspirational note as well. And it all comes back full circle to education. And in this case, our seniors who are graduating from high school. One of the events I never missed, both as a school board member many years ago and now as a county commissioner, are the annual Teacher Appreciation Awards. And those are hosted by the LDS Church, by our faith-based community partners whom we meet with and do a lot of good work in our community. And this dinner featured, on the night I was there, Columbine High School students. And then on Saturday night, they were hosting, I think, Dakota Ridge High School students. One of the Columbine High School students who honored his teacher said about his physics teacher, "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." And it was just one of several inspiring comments and stories that were shared by students demonstrating the impact that teachers have on their students and the incredible community that they create as well. So big thanks to LDS for the invitation to join and huge celebration of teachers as well as staff at Columbine High School. And it was also great to see our Jefferson County Board of Education President, Mary Parker, as well as Jeffco Schools leaders representing the South Jeffco area. Just one other quick reminder, we did have to change our Jefferson County Board of County Commissioners Town Hall. The date has now changed to May 19th. And if you're interested in learning more about the issues all three of us have raised surrounding federal decisions, the administration's decisions, the impact on Jeffco, and how we're navigating those issues, be sure to tune in May 19th from 6 to 7. We'll also talk more about 1A and how you can get involved in the decision-making process and much more. So watch our website, jeffco.us, for more information. And I'll turn it over to County Manager Kirby next.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahlkemper. Just to address one of the comments that you were sharing regarding our elected official, our executive order task force. So Dan Conway, who is our Chief Financial Officer, he co-leads that group. Dan and I had met last week for our regular every other week check-in, and I had asked Dan to work with that task force to come forward once a month to the board.
Your mic is off.
Actually, my mic's on.
What is, oh, sorry.
Lean closer. So
Thank you.
So I had requested that Dan come forward representing that group once a month to update the board. And I think we were considering a couple of different forums. If you feel that once a month is not frequent enough, we can look at doing it twice a month if the board would prefer that, but we are targeting making that happen.
Let me just ask while we're on that topic, board members, would you be open to twice a month? And sometimes it may be a short update, sometimes it might be more involved, but I think it allows us an opportunity to engage more and be even more proactive. Would you be open to, are you good with that? Twice a month? Okay.
Yes, happy to do that. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I would like to build on what the sheriff had shared a little earlier today regarding Nathan Whittington, our emergency manager, who was awarded Emergency Manager of the Year. As of last night, we have a couple of more honors that have been presented to our employees. The annual Rocky Mountain Workforce Development Association Conference It was being held yesterday, today, and I believe tomorrow. And our own Kat Douglas, who is our Housing, Economic, and Employment Services Director, was awarded the Workforce Director of the Year. And so that is great news. And Michelle Foley from our Workforce Development Program was also awarded the Trailblazer of the Year. And then also our Workforce Center team and board received the System Excellence Award of the Year. So noteworthy work going on and important work going on in our workforce development program, and kudos to all of those I just mentioned on their outstanding work this last year.
That's great news. Wonderful. Thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate it. County Attorney Kim Sorrells.
No updates today, thanks.
Great. Thanks so much. We are going to resume at 10:40 on the 5th floor for our briefings. We have a couple of items on briefings, and we want to thank everyone who joined us this morning. We're officially adjourned.